Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 294 at scavengerlife.com.
Recently on the forum, there have been several people that have come on saying that they're going full-time.
Yes.
And I've said this before, it's always incredible to me when people do that. When people are just like, yep, I'm quitting my job, I'm going to start selling on eBay or Amazon or wherever full-time.
Right.
It's always incredible to me.
It's amazing.
Because it just means they're basically saying, I'm just going to, jump in that big hole and, without a net.
But we know that can be a very good thing. I mean, it sounds scary. It is scary.
I think I wish people, and I always try and ask it's questions of people that say that. It's like what the circumstances are. Like, are they doing it because they got laid off?
Right.
So they basically don't have it's kind of like, I don't have another choice. Let's do this.
Right, this has to happen.
Or they're kind of basically, it's retiring. It's like they've worked this job for 30 years.
They're retiring.
They could keep doing it if they wanted to, but they're like, it's early.
Yeah.
It's retirement. It's knowing I have some. Or is it because I was in the military and I'm getting this pension? There's groups of people. It's like that.
Yeah.
I always wondered about that. Or is it someone's like, I
done.
actually have a job.
Right.
I'm young, and I'm just going to choose to not do this
anymore.
Right,
exactly. No, it's interesting to know the different circumstances, like you said.
That being said, we have officially set up that payroll its system to pay our helper.
Through Square.
Yeah. And again, we're not advertising for Square. That's just the service we chose to use. And mainly just because I think it was because of the interface. Like, that was what I was interested in.
And the service that they offer is affordable, and they file everything for you. I mean, you give them all the information. This is my account number with the state. This is my account number with the, IRS, and then they're going to do all that for me, which is
right.
So great.
I mean, and the good thing is, if anyone ever wants to hire an employee officially, W-2 employee, there's actually a good handful of companies that do the same thing, like online.
Yes.
It's services that do, basically the same thing. You plug in info and they pay things. But I was looking, though, a lot of them don't have good interfaces, or they were started a long time ago, and it's kind of like eBay, where it's kind of clunky.
Yeah.
I also like this one too on Square, is that they give the employee access through the website.
You can give them access,
right?
Yeah.
So they can keep track of.
The big thing was I was having an issue with some of my state account numbers, and it was not telling me that it was hooking up with the account number and stuff. So I didn't see a phone number for Square, so I emailed them, but they called me back quite quickly, and they emailed me a certain person. This is what I love when tech companies or any companies are like, here's my direct line for X person, because I feel like so many times when you're trying to call eBay or wherever and there's no direct line, you're always going to get connected to someone new. So that was really nice that there was a single person reaching out to make sure that I did it right and answer. And then I had a couple other questions and they answered them right away through email, which is super helpful. So it's been good so far.
Yeah, I find that the smaller companies are better at customer service because they know that they have to be.
Yeah.
That's why I like our phone company Ting over when we had AT&T. They're like a small, scrappy phone company, and you can call them and they pick up on the first ring.
They pick up right away and they're like, "Hi, this is Brian."
Right. And
it's really... Oh, and they have... the other thing I love about Ting is they have online chat. And so, a lot of companies now are having online chat, but it really is just a person. And I was having issue with my SIM card one time. This is just a side note. And they fixed it over chat. And I accidentally closed the chat window. I closed my browser by accident. And then I opened Ting again and it popped right back up.
Oh,
I was yes. I love small companies like that. So far with Square, it's been like that.
Because, it seems like the bigger a company gets, when it becomes a corporation,
right?
They want to have layers between you and the company because, it's like when you call in and there's like the automated menu.
Yeah, there's the
you have to.
prompts.
So I always hit 0000000.
Me too. I know.
To get there.
I had that experience this week too.
I mean, when we talked about how we lowered our insurance bill this year because we raised our deductible and did a couple other things.
Yeah.
I had a couple people email me and was like, well, what you should do is not go through your local insurance company because just the fact that you're dealing with an agent adds extra
money.
cost. You should find a company and just deal directly with
like an online company, like Geico or
Progressive
Aflac or
whatever.
Something.
Yeah. The only issue and I see the logic of that. The reason why I like dealing with our local guy is that there is someone who will answer my question.
We go right to their office.
I can either
ask.
park right up front.
Yeah.
I walk in and I'm in front of his desk asking him things.
Yeah.
Or I can email him and he gets back to me. So
yeah,
it's until that's no longer a benefit, I think we'll keep.
We like that. We like that
guy.
part of it. Yeah, absolutely.
It's why we go to our local bank too. Is that they're a small bank, they now have like several branches.
They've been getting bigger
over the past couple of years. They've been growing, and they're starting to become more of a regional bank. And my fear is it's a big play where they're trying to absorb some other smaller banks and then get bought out. Which I guess makes sense for whoever owns the bank. But I just love that we have a little small bank where we talk to our banker Kim.
Yeah, she's just. Well, hopefully if they got bought out, she would still be there, but the loans would be different, I think.
And so, we've been working with our helper this week, and what's interesting is, we hired her specifically to help us take pictures and list eBay items.
Right.
But it's kind of morphing into more of like a personal assistant.
That's totally what I think of it, honestly.
Right. Because this week...
I'm not like having her do the dishes or something.
Yeah, or go get our laundry.
Yeah,
but it's more just helping us with whatever we're doing. So like this past week, we have this rental and we put in a new bed.
Right.
And you and her went and like put the bed together.
Yeah. And when we were done with that, she helped me make the beds in the house because the house had to get cleaned. We didn't clean the house, but I was like. I kind of had to be honest. Like, this is a big part of our job. Is like sometimes we have to clean the house if our cleaner can't do it. So we might need help with that. I mean, she seems fine with it. I mean, I feel like making beds is not like really a big deal. It's not like I'm like you need to sit in an office for 8 hours and do nothing.
I think the difference too is like if you aren't just like go and do this menial work all by it yourself.
I'm there too,
and it's going to be boring and who cares. You're basically doing the work, but now you have somebody helping you. And like it's when I walked in on it, you guys were like laughing and telling stories. To each other. So it seems like you're having a good time.
It's not like boring. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's like I didn't want to put that bed together, but it had to get done, and we did it together, and it was fine. Yeah. So I think we're trying to kind of ease her into like, okay, we could be doing other things at different times. So, I mean, look, I had jobs like that when I was in high school and college where I would just do random stuff for people, and I was fine with that because it's so much better than sitting in an office.
I even had jobs like that where I was just interning. I wasn't even getting paid.
Right, exactly.
To do it,
no, exactly. I was, that too. Yep.
I mean, I had some guy email me, and he had heard our podcast about hiring someone. And he was talking about he had fairly recently had an eBay business where he had like 15 employees and like a brick and mortar store, and he would like his job was basically to get inventory. He'd like drive all around these different states and get clothes, and just saying that it was a bit too much. Right. He sold it to a relative, and now he's got another eBay business where it's him, and he just has a couple of helpers. Right. And he was just saying one thing we should do is to teach her how to pack. Yeah. Like that would be a big benefit, especially when we're traveling, to have somebody. The only problem with that is that we need to get our systems better. We do not have an inventory, a system that where any sane person would be able to find it. We can find everything, but we could not teach our system. So that's something this year is a big goal of ours.
Yeah.
Like, get all of our inventory in one place and get it like
inventory numbered
where we could teach somebody, and that could be something
part of her job. Absolutely.
And but I will say, I mean, she may leave in May, so this may be
right. Sure. I mean,
this might be a very temporary.
She graduates
process for us,
and who knows if she's. I don't know what she's going to do.
If she'll stay in the area, if she'll get a full-time job. Our hope is that we treat her well. She enjoys the work, and she'll always see it as like maybe some part-time work. So she might want to earn some extra cash and keep doing it.
Exactly.
So we'll see.
But you see what happens.
But it's also good for us. We're learning the process. So if she left, we
might find somebody else.
I think better now. We kind of understand things, and we could, find someone else if we had to.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so let's talk about eBay now. You have on our outline that we were wrong about
I think it's always important for us to say we were wrong.
I have to contradict that because
we're not wrong.
No, it's not that we weren't wrong. It's that we were asking the question.
Right.
Does Sell Similar copy other people's photos? I'm sorry, not Sell Similar. Sell one like this.
Yeah.
We were asking if that happened. We weren't like we think it did.
Okay.
I know that Sell Similar on your own listings does that.
Right.
I'm fully aware of that.
Let me quickly, because I think you jumped way too far in and people are like, what is she talking about? So, last podcast, we talked about someone was complaining about plagiarism, where this person that sells items, it was like, I'm seeing my items listed by someone else and they're copying everything. Photos. Description, the text. And so we were like, well, does eBay make that easier? Because if you just say, sell one like this, does it copy everything over? I think I might have intimated that was true.
Oh, that it did?
So,
okay. I thought we were asking.
I'm wrong.
Okay.
I thought that it would do that. But if you just do your own, it will copy
of course,
everything over.
Right.
If you're doing it to someone else's, it just brings, I think, the title and some
item description, conditions or whatever.
Although it's not very hard to then just go and copy and paste.
Yeah, I mean, people just do it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's people were very clear that we were giving out bad information, and we don't like to do that.
No.
Yeah, we actually had another solid week on eBay. Like a lot of steady sales. A lot of good high dollar sales.
I wanted to stay.
I know.
Keep going.
Right. Well, Jeez. I feel like we've been through this enough times where, it should not be a surprise when the summer comes and things start slowing down. The best thing we can do is just to list stuff.
Yep.
That's all we can do.
It's got to be there to be bought.
And I think what we've been doing too this past at wintertime is just putting up just a smorgasbord of different items, Putting up, it's more clothing. I mean, just so we're really kind of putting up anything anyone could want at any time of the year.
It's pretty random. I mean, what's the stuff that people buy is just so
do you want an old spoon? I got that. Do you want some shoes? I got that. Do you want some workout pants? I got that. Do you want a whiskey glass? I got that.
You want an old spoon. It's so funny because I do sell old spoons.
Yeah.
In fact, I sold 2 sets of flatware last week.
Yeah.
So, old spoons.
Yeah. But the big thing for us is that we sold a number of items over $100, and that's really what makes a week good.
It bumps that week up.
If we're just selling things for $15, $20, $25, it's tough. I mean, even if you sell 50 of those things,
the numbers are low. Yeah, they stay low.
It's always good when we have that mix.
Yeah.
Okay, the Scavenger of the week.
We didn't scavenge anything this week, so I love that we started this and we're like we didn't. Did we not buy anything?
We didn't buy anything.
I didn't
on the one night we've designated where we're definitely going to go and scavenge. We skipped this week just because we had a very busy week.
Jay says this right before the podcast. Ryan, you've been really tired lately. I'm like, yeah. We've been working like crazy.
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with this other business we have, the rental business. So we're trying to really push to get this renovation done. It's been taking up a lot of our time, but But again, that's a good thing about having a large inventory is that we can go weeks without buying a single thing and things keep selling because we have plenty of inventory.
Yeah, totally. Yep.
And I mean, and we did it list a lot this week, or not a whole lot, but we did because we still have inventory that needs to get put up.
Yeah, I mean, like our helper helped us list stuff. I'm a little behind her because I was late coming to the office. And she was like an hour ahead of me, and I was like, I'm just going to do other things and list stuff over the weekend. So that's what I've been doing. But
it's nice that she can, kind of go on autopilot.
That was one of the first times that I was like, she has a code to the office. We have a laptop set up for her, and we have like everything, whatever. And now she knows how to write titles. I was like, I'm not going to be in the office till 2, so just do all this stuff, and I'll get caught up with you when I get there. And she's like, okay. I'm like, that's the dream right there. I was like, oh yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to briefly mention Amazon FBA.
Yeah.
Because there's still a little more news in our experiment is winding down. I talked about it last week where I just went and just like discounted everything. Basically, it's almost where we're not going to make much money on anything.
I mean, it's yeah.
I had discounted stuff so low that we were actually losing money on items. Where like people would be buying books and we know it's costing us 75 cents. So I actually went in and like, I better raise this up a little bit so we're at least breaking even. And some things sell for a bit more. So I think we'll probably sell when February 17th comes and we get charged out a long-term fee. I bet we'll sell at least 100 items. I bet we'll sell at least a 20th of our store.
Okay, I hope. A 20th. Yeah. That's great.
Sorry, a fifth.
A fifth, yeah, because we have like 5.
Yeah.
How many things do we have? Like 600.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes more sense.
Now, one thing I did. It's noticed, and I don't know if you saw this, but we got a negative feedback on Amazon.
I didn't even think there was feedback on Amazon.
It's our first negative feedback we've ever gotten on Amazon.
What did they say?
It was just like someone had been like, this book is older than it should be.
It was on a book? My God.
There's too much wear on this, and they didn't return it. They
kept it.
They kept it. Again, it's just one thing. The interesting thing is, though, I don't know if interesting is the right word. The crappy thing is that Amazon then put our store, we're not suspended, but we're on it's notice where now they hold our money. So we don't get our money payout like we did every 2 weeks. They hold it for 90 days or something like that. So
90 days, 3 months?
Is it 3 months? They
hold it, months?
They hold it for... No, they hold it for 4 weeks. They it's now have like a schedule of when they'll pay us our money. Anyway, I don't really know what to do, and I guess this is when I'm just like, I just hate Amazon. This is so
crazy.
I think part of it is just like, it makes me realize how much I love eBay, but it might just be because we know eBay better,
Yeah.
When things like this happen on eBay, I know what to do, and we know how to fix it, and we know how to deal with it.
Well, the other thing, too, is, getting a negative on eBay, they don't hold your money. Right. You still get paid for your next transaction. Right. It's come on.
Yeah.
It's so... Oh, Amazon, you can go right to hell, honestly.
It's Ryan is visibly upset.
I didn't even know that until right now. Yeah. I'm just like, oh, great, they're holding our $50 we made last week. That's great. Okay, I'm done. Oh, man.
Yeah, well, they have this percentage of, you can't go over a certain percentage of unhappy customers. And I don't know if it's just because we don't sell enough, but one negative was able to push us over that amount.
Well, I just wonder if it's because no one leaves feedback. So the only feedback you got in the last X amount of months.
That's true.
Was the negative. Because who leaves feedback on Amazon? It's
But anyway, so I think our goal right now is we're just trying to clear out our current inventory.
Marcus Lemonis.
Right. Yeah.
Just liquidate this.
Just liquidate it.
Exactly.
Basically. And then, we'll just keep our Amazon account and, if something makes sense to send in, maybe we'll send it in. But
well, we're no longer paying the $40
right.
fee for whatever it was, like Awesome Merchant or whatever you were. I don't know. So that's good.
Anyway, okay, so let's talk about our numbers for the week. We sold 42 items, and we made about $1,700.
Cool.
As of right now. Our highest price, well, we'll talk about that in a bit, but our average was about $40 an item, which is, again, is great.
Yes, I love that number.
I'm so psyched with that.
Yeah.
And then in our second store, we sold 7 items.
Yes.
For about $300.
That's great. That's all right.
And again, the average price was about $40. So
I sold 2 things this morning before I was starting to pack. So that was cool.
Yeah. So it's we made almost $2,000 between both stores, and you know what? I'm happy with that.
That's great.
I'm good with that. All right, things we sold. We sold 2 more of our vintage pen cartridges.
Refill cartridges.
Yeah, we had talked about that where, we found this huge bin at the Goodwill and I just bought them all. And I really love hearing those stories from other people where they find like a big cache of some item. Someone recently said that she found a big box of posters. Or, some guy said he bought out someone's hats. Like he had a whole lifetime full of like trucker hats.
Yep.
Someone else said that they found a big thing of plumbing parts.
Oh, right.
And those are the kind of things where nobody wants that stuff because
it just looks like junk.
It's like too much. Only a seller, and it's got to be a very specific kind of person. But if you take the time to actually put that stuff up, it becomes like a little pipeline. I mean, it often takes a while for all this stuff to sell, but you'll get little bits of cash
right
every week, every
well, it's like
month.
We said, it's a pipeline.
Right.
So every week we're selling a few of these pen cartridges, and that's great.
And
that's
it's one of those really rare things to find. To kind of just be in this place, and there it is, and.
You got to be ready to be willing to
all in.
Buy it.
Like that one time we found those 2 boxes of nails, those like antique square nails.
Square nails.
We've
been selling those for years.
We still have.
It's very small, a couple pounds left.
But over at least 3 years, we were making $50 a month or something.
Yeah, it was great. It was like the greatest pipeline. Yeah. It's just they're 2 small boxes in the corner.
$5.
And it was just like, it was $5 for all of them at an auction.
Or like that time where we bought that trunk of military clothes.
I literally still have items from that sell.
Right.
I mean, it's just like never ending.
Paid $20 for the whole trunk, and and like other people say, you can make several $1,000s or more off
because you sell each piece of whatever it is individually.
Is there anything else that we
like pipeline stuff? I'm sure there is.
Yeah. But and that's the difference between scavengers is like all of us, where if you find that stuff and if you're willing to be patient and sell it off over time, versus other kind of scavengers, people that sell at flea markets, they'll also find those kind of caches too, but they'll find those things and then they'll just
they just sell it off
quickly
because they don't want to haul it around. I mean, that's the thing with storage. You just put it in the corner, and you go get it every time it sells.
You know what? Another thing we found was that Kimper. Pile.
Oh yeah, and I'm still selling that stuff. Yeah. It's not super fast because my prices are super high. Right. Because I want high prices for them, but I get the prices sometimes. So,
and that being said, we did sell a necklace for $125 this week,
and I bought that necklace at a yard sale for 75 cents.
And you know what? But we talking about caches. This could have been a big buy.
I do not know what I was thinking. She had an entire table filled with just different beads and handmade necklaces, and I bought a few pieces.
Her mother had died, and so she was just trying to get rid of it all. We were even there at the end of the day.
I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, okay, I know what I was thinking. I didn't want them to know we were sellers because it felt I felt rude because she said, my mom died, she made all these things, but she was selling them.
She was like, pick any one. There's 75 cents each.
I should have been I will take. I took like 3 or 4, like a handful. I should have just been like, I'll take all of them.
How much for all of it?
Just give them all to me.
That's right.
It shouldn't have mattered. It was one of those moments where I like second guessed myself, and I got like.
I think sometimes, and I'm like that too. Sometimes I'm not in the kind of aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, how much for all?
Like
this?
I felt sad that she was selling her mom's stuff,
right.
and
you were trying to be more.
I was trying to be like you said, not aggressive or something. And now I'm like, I should have bought all that for like $10.
Because she wanted to get rid of it.
Yeah,
It's a lesson learned.
Yeah.
We sold a vintage analog pedal, like a
it was like a guitar pedal
for $200.
Now this thing, it was what was the brand? Oh, Steve Schultz knows because I emailed him about it. $200 for this thing. I mean, I don't know what we paid for it. We paid almost nothing for it.
And we found it in a box at a junkie thrift shop, and there were other pieces too. And I just grabbed them all, and we
didn't care what they were. Yeah,
on them.
exactly.
And I didn't know what they were or how they worked or if they worked. I just knew that it looked cool and they were cheap enough. Now, that being said, I mean, we've talked about this with other people online. There's sometimes things that can't be tested,
right?
Like, we weren't able to test this thing, but we, of course, guarantee that it will work.
Right.
So
like, if it doesn't work, he gets his money back.
Right. But that's the thing with some of this stuff, is that the good thing is it's analog, and it's there are less, like, moving pieces and electronics in it that can go wrong.
So we're hoping it's good.
Yep.
So something else that sold for over $100, I had this antique cross stitch. It was a sampler, which means it's like the alphabet in numbers. And the thing that was sad about it is I knew it was really, really old, but it was not dated. So that's always a bummer, because the ones that sell for most money have the date.
And this is something that I've learned. This is one of those things where back in the 1800s and earlier, like, the young girls would sit around by the fire and they would winter nights and would just
make
stitch
these
basically
samplers.
The alphabet and, like, little animals and and that's what they did, and those are valuable.
They're super valuable. This one did not have a date. It did have a name. It was like a Scandinavian name, so it was interesting. I have had that piece for like 3 years. And I, like, when something like that sells, I just look at it, I'm like, I thought no one would ever buy this.
And it sold for
$150.
Yep.
So
we probably bought it for, what, $5 or something?
Probably, maybe even less.
A couple more things. We sold some playing cards for $55. And specifically, they were like Pinup Girl.
They're from Esquire magazine, like from the... I want to say 50s, 60s. Like, they were like king size, like big. Usually, like, I'm not a fan of that stuff because I don't want to look at it, really. But I'm also like, it's people buy that retro pinup girl stuff.
I think in this, I don't know. I mean, in this day and age, stuff like that is so, it's retro and kitschy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's like, maybe it's just because things have progressed so far. I mean, that kind of stuff is just so... It's
so, like...
kind of corny these days.
It's just...
Whereas, I guess back in the old days, like, that was, like, what pornography
super
was.
Risque. Yeah, like it's like laughable now. You're
smoky, poker game downstairs, and some guy's like,
look at
lock
this.
the door, okay, check this out.
Well, but so I had them up for $80, but I took it out for $55 because I was like, $55. I don't even know how. I probably paid $25 for these, so I'm happy.
And then the last thing we'll mention, we had a nice sale one.
Yes.
It's morning where these 2 pairs of vintage shoes sold together for $135.
To the head shoe and bag designer at Michael Kors.
Yeah,
we've mentioned him before. He's bought from us before, so I was very happy when he bought from us again.
And I think he's bought from other people who are hearing this as well. But and this is true for a lot of designers at these companies, that they'll just troll eBay.
Yeah.
And when they, are coming up with a new fashion idea. They'll just troll eBay, start buying vintage stuff.
Right.
They get it sent to them, and I imagine that then they use it as examples. Like, let's take this bow and let's mix it with this leather thing. And, I want the texture to be like this.
I think that's exactly what they're doing. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he even said that in an article. That's what he does.
Right.
I think tons of designers do that. Yeah. I don't think they directly, just take the shoe and be like, make this. They can't do that. Although some places have been accused of doing stuff like that. But, so I love that because I was actually telling my helper, I was packing these shoes up and I was like, you're never going to believe, who bought this. It's just kind of amazing. I probably got these at a yard sale.
But she was like, who's that?
She didn't know who Michael Kors was.
She grew up in the country here, so she just didn't really know.
Although I was like, did you ever watch Project Runway? And she's like, no. Yeah. And I was like, well, then you'd know who he was.
I will admit, I didn't know who he was either until we started to sell this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so.
Okay, customer issues. We got a couple more returns this week.
Clothes.
No big deal. I mean, I like the eBay's.
The hassle-free. Yeah, and especially if it's honestly, the clothes don't fit. No problem. Hassle-free makes it so easy.
Right.
Send it back.
No problem.
I'm not responsible for the shipping. That makes me happy. I'm like, I'll take it back.
Now, we did get a negative.
We did get a negative.
A negative feedback. And it's like what, other people have experienced.
Yes.
It's puts it into a gray area where the buyer, gave us negative feedback and said the item broke.
Right.
Not when it got shipped to him. It was a weight belt.
I think he even said, I have to read the negative again, that he put it on and it broke.
Right.
That might be removable, but the issue is they never opened a case. They never contacted us. They didn't ask for money back.
Right. He didn't want a return. He was just complaining it broke, and then that was it. And that's a tough one because often eBay, it will say two things: reach out to the buyer and work it out.
Right.
And number two, it's his opinion, or it's his or her opinion.
That's what his experience.
They're allowed to have that opinion. And the thing is, for us, we've never had good experience with when someone leaves a bad feedback of reaching out to them and trying to change their minds. Normally, those kind of people, they're just grumpy.
Yep.
They're unhappy. There's really nothing you can do. Although we've heard other people say that they've been able to convince people to change the feedback.
I don't know how. I really don't.
It's for us, it's one of those things. If we can't call and convince eBay that it's an unfair feedback, we'll just eat it and our store, it'll be fine.
Right.
It's one of those things where we just have to ask ourselves, are we doing something wrong here that we're keep doing wrong in other places? Or is this just a particular instance where we just got a grumpy person? And
it sucks because my negative was the other negative I got forever ago. It's just about to drop off. And I'm like, I got another one. But you know what? I really...
Right when one's about to drop off, you get another one.
I'm just I can't do anything about it. I will try to get that removed and I will, I'll try my hardest. But if somebody is just grumpy and doesn't want a refund or a return or any kind of communication, it's
yeah.
What do you do,
Yeah. So things we learned in the forum this week, over the forum, a couple of things that I kind of pulled out I wanted to briefly talk about. So someone was complaining about that they were getting chargebacks.
Through PayPal.
And or eBay customers complaining that they never got their item and they want a refund.
Right. So similar.
Both these things. And the answer is tracking. If you have tracking on your items, which everyone should, unless
it's a postcard.
Sending it with just a little stamp, you're going to have tracking. If you can prove to either PayPal or eBay that the tracking says delivered, you're free and clear. Right.
Look, I got a chargeback this week. Also, some person was like, I didn't authorize this payment. This is Their item got delivered December 3rd. Okay, so it's a month and a half ago. They never contacted me through eBay. They never asked for a refund. They never like wrote me an email. So that's kind of crazy, right? You're like, okay, why, whatever. So I went into PayPal, I put in the tracking, and well, what I need to do is I need to go look at the updated status of it, or I need to call PayPal.
But we've had this happen before. That's all we do, and PayPal closes in our favor. You know, we've never lost a case.
I've never lost a
if you're
chargeback
tracking,
case.
and that's a whole point. I remember when eBay started to require tracking, or highly encouraged tracking. It was about 4 years ago or something. Yeah. And people were complaining like, but it
saves
for your protection, you know? So anyway, there was a good thread on that on its forum there, because I think some people that sell on eBay don't understand that that's what saves you, the tracking.
Yeah, if someone says I never got this, and you check the tracking and it says delivered to their town, you're just like, what can I do?
Right. I mean, all we do is say we'll ask at your post office, because once the tracking says that, they have to they have to go and find it, because very very often it's what happens is, you know, it got put in front of someone's door and the neighbor is holding it.
Right.
A wife came home early and put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
And, you know, those kind of things happen.
Totally.
And then the other kind of conversation we were having was someone came on the forum and said, it's hard to be a seller on eBay and to be someone that doesn't like to have a lot of stuff around them.
To be a minimalist.
Yeah. And I'm going to put these...
That's like us, I think.
Yeah, and I'm going to put these... I will link to these on the blog just so you can go and read the conversation there. And I think that's an interesting idea, because we're the same way.
Yep.
We personally don't like to own a lot of stuff, you know. We have, you know, everything we have, I feel like we try and find well-made stuff.
Yep.
Stuff we touch all the time. And anything that we don't touch... we just sell. We just get rid of it. But because we have an eBay store, you know, we can't help but just be surrounded by inventory, you know.
Especially because we don't have that building outside.
Like I'm looking at it all right now.
Yeah.
And there is that tension of being surrounded by stuff. And honestly, that's a good tension in my mind. Like this stuff that I'm looking at right now that needs to get put up on eBay and stored away doesn't disappear to me. And I think that's what happens with hoarders, is that they just start stacking newspapers and stacking trash.
And they don't see it anymore.
And it just kind of disappears to them, and they just stack more stuff on top of it. This stuff has not disappeared. It's on the front of my mind. I write little notes like we have to do it, you know.
Yeah.
Because until it's gone, I feel tense. You know?
Yeah. You know, that also is an argument for either not buying as much or making sure everything's listed or getting better storage.
Well, I mean,
you know?
I will say, and I do understand that argument. You know, people are like, well, I need to stop buying stuff.
Right.
And I think that that's true. If you have so much stuff that it's like falling in on you, or it's, you know, or if you're honestly not taking care of it and just buying, it's more stuff because it's more fun to buy. But
yeah,
I don't believe in the idea of like you should stop buying stuff totally until everything is put up. I feel like there needs to be kind of some constant scavenging as long as you're always putting stuff on eBay. Like,
right, exactly.
I would not feel good if we didn't have at least a little bit of piles that needed to be put up. You know?
Yeah, totally. You always need to be, you know, continuously listing stuff.
Right.
Like that's just the nature of the business.
Right. And always trying to find stuff too.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Okay, our coming week. I'm continue to work on shoes. I had a slow week, but I will continue shoes. I have hats and I have bags.
Okay. We have stamps, coins, and postcards still. I keep avoiding them because they're so horrifying.
Well, you guys started to do it.
We did. We did.
I mean, part of the problem is it's something that we don't know about, and we don't want to just kind of give stuff away. So it's a matter of like,
research,
you having to sit down and learn about this.
So that takes a lot of time when you have piles of this stuff. So I did do some research. I need to do some more.
But is it one of those things where it's you like research 5 or 6 things, and then you kind of get a sense of the market.
Yes,
and then you're like, all right, all this other
yes,
stuff.
yes, absolutely. When you're like, okay, I have the most random, like, commemorative coins. Some are silver, some aren't, and then you're like, okay, I'm just selling them individually. They're not being sold as a lot.
Right.
That's what makes the most sense.
And
then you move on.
Hey, this one's worth $50. Okay, these other ones are probably worth about the same.
Yeah, approximately, or I'll find out when I'm listing them, like what to list them as, and that works for me so far. It just takes time. It takes time going through a box of stuff like that. And then the thing that kind of sucks about it is you've researched it, and then I'm having our helper like take photos of it, and then I kind of have to do it over again when I'm like doing titles and stuff, because I don't make her do titles of like crazy weird like coins, and it's just too much. It's like,
could you get her to kind of start putting something down, like just like type what you read on the coin? You know?
Yes, she does that. She does that, but I'm like, other than that, don't. Right. I have to like look it up on the web, like through Google, like what is this called?
The interwebs.
Yeah. So
now, we've said this before about it's always an enjoyment to kind of like switch things up, so it's not just like, oh, just more clothes and more clothes. But then when we do get this kind of new kind of stuff, there's also an equal amount of like stress over, oh, I don't know this, I have to actually learn this. Is there any enjoyment in doing something new?
You know what? You know where the enjoyment comes from? Finding out how much that stuff is worth.
That's my girl. Just get right to it.
I mean, if it's worth $2, I'm like, my life is worthless. What am I doing?
Yeah.
But if you're like, oh, this coin is potentially worth $800. Great, I love it. Let's keep going. You
know what? It's funny. I'll tell a quick story.
Yeah.
I'm going to become one of those guys. Let me tell you this quick story.
Let me tell you this story.
When we were in it's Manhattan over Christmas time.
Yes.
One of the things I did for you as a gift was I took you to see a magic show.
Yes.
And it was really cool. It was a lady.
Yes.
In basically a little small apartment.
She was a conjurer.
It wasn't her, like, she didn't sleep there, so as she said, but it was her, like...
It was like a studio.
A workshop.
Yeah.
And there were, like, only 7 people there. It was really intimate, super cool. You could see the tricks right up front. And
she showed you how to do the
And
tricks.
she mixed it up with stories of basically females in the magic world. And, and how a magic started with the women in villages way back when, and then it got taken over by men, of course.
Just like everything else.
Yeah. Anyway, she comes to this point where she's just like, okay, let's go around and what does everybody want? You know, like what do you...
What is it? No, she said, what does everybody want for each other?
Right.
Like, what does everybody want for other people?
I'm not quite sure how that fit into the show, but anyway.
It was part of one of the tricks. Right. I mean, it was part of, like, what she...
And, people are going through, like, I want love, and, even me, I was like, I want peace for everyone.
Peace and hope and love.
I do, right? And then Ryan, she gets to you, and you were like, I want a lot of money.
That's not how I said it. No, I will say what I said. And it was a wish for other people.
Okay.
And I said, I wish for great financial success.
Right.
For everyone.
Gotcha.
In the room.
Good.
And for us.
But even she, I laughed about it because everyone else was being very touchy-feely.
I didn't want to be touchy-feely at all.
But that's true. At the end of the day, money doesn't buy happiness, but man, it sure does help. And actually, I'd read this in an article where they said money does buy happiness up to a certain point. They said it's about $70,000. Like, once you get to about $70,000, like, every dollar up to $70,000 improves your life and your well-being, your calm, and all your happiness and your family. After $70,000, it starts to become more than you actually need, and it doesn't really add to your happiness. And that's when I guess you start getting people just buying stuff just to buy stuff,
Look,
but up to $70,000, you start having a good, calm life.
The reason I say it, and I said this before, where I'm like, I don't care about fancy cars or fancy clothes or I don't care about any of that stuff. It's not interesting to me, not at all. I mean, the reason why I say that is because I feel like when you have that freedom, you can do other things. And that's what we're trying to work towards. You know, when we went to that magic show, it was right before Christmas. So that's right smack in the middle of us doing that renovation. Money is flying out the door. Lots of money every week. So
insulation, roof,
just labor.
Floors,
I mean,
plumbing.
Just so much money every week. Every week you're writing these huge checks. And we chose to do that, and we choose to do that. It's just, it's nice when that's over and you are making money and you're paying off your debt so that you can not feel like you're working a grind.
Yeah.
Like you even said, oh, you're so tired this week. Like, I went to bed at like 8:45 last night. I could not keep my eyes open, and I slept till like 9:00 this morning. You know, just because it's like every single day you're like, okay, we're waking up at 5. We're doing this. We have to go to the other house. The inspector's coming. We have to make a decision on this. And then I have to come home and like, you are working on eBay and I'm working on eBay, and you're doing that until it gets dark. And it's just like, yeah. That's what work is, you know, but...
You know, I was thinking about this today, though, is that, you know, sometimes I forget what we're working for.
Right,
you know,
right
now it's just like, renovate this house.
It's right in front of your face.
We need to get the insulation, and we need to get the sheetrock, and like, those are my immediate goals. And I was realizing today when I was just doing our numbers for the month, it's not for this podcast, but just for our budget, you know, just to make sure we have the money to pay things. I was like, wait a second. When this is done, and there is an end to this. I mean, it's a finite job. When this is done, this house could make us, the hope is, $3,000 to $4,000 a month. Right. Like, it stops being a hole where money goes in, and it starts to become where money's coming out.
Right. Then that's the point.
And I forget that. And can you imagine to have $3,000 or $4,000 extra dollars?
Yeah, to go pay off that debt.
From what we have now?
Right.
I mean, and that debt will go away really quickly.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
And that's kind of the goal, is to where, you know, we're not trying to make the millions of dollars, because that millions of dollars isn't what's going to bring us happiness. It's really like, just $70,000 every year. Like,
seriously.
Enough where we can live a nice, comfortable life without having to really worry about where the next dollar is going to come from, you know? So all this work we're doing, you know, we have to remember that there's a whole point to it.
I think also like yesterday was the inauguration, and honestly, all I wanted to do was read a book. I had so much work to do, and I was like, I really just want to sit down and read a book, and I didn't. But you know, like that's to me, financial freedom is that, where it's like you do some work and you take care of everything and you make sure your businesses are running, and then you can like go read a book for the rest of the day. Yep. Actually, we met our electrician at the house yesterday because we were having an inspection, and he's like, I want to be there. And he was like, you know what I did yesterday that I haven't done in like 20 years? He's like, I went home early and I took a nap at 2:00 in the afternoon. And we were like, you can do that when you own your own business. You're allowed to do that, you know? And that's the beauty of it.
And this kind of ties into what we were talking about just right at the top of the podcast, was, you know, when I read people on the forums talking about their going full time. You know, it's like they're real proud of the announcement. Like,
right.
I'm quitting my job and I'm just going to start doing this full time. You know, I mean, it's so amazing because it's everything we're talking about right now. Right. You're giving up that kind of steady paycheck. I mean, there's all the headaches that come along with that, and the office politics and all that, but it is a steady paycheck. Right. And when you go in at it alone, where you're just selling online, it's all of this stuff. I mean, it's like, am I working hard enough? Right. Like, am I making enough? You know, am I going to sell just as much next week? Right. I mean, it's when I think about it, I'm just like, I can't believe we sell as much as we do every week in, week out. Right. I mean, we have no control over that. Right. But somehow it works, and has worked for us for 8 years now, you know? It
was really funny because just talking to all these contractors and different people, the guy who's doing our plumbing actually has a full-time job in the city, and he came over to look at something like, oh, could you help us with this eventually or something? And he was like, we were like, dude, there's so much work in this county for you if you quit your job, like, and you are a full-time plumber / like maintenance type person. And he was just like, there's so many headaches with your own job. And I'm just like, you commute to DC every day. Right. That's crazy.
Like he's on the road 3 to 4 hours a day.
A day, every day, right? 5 days a week.
Yeah. But, it's just one of these sweet golden cages. It's got a pension. So he's 35. If he puts in, I think he said another 13 years.
Right.
He'll actually get a full pension. But I'm just like, dude.
13 years.
13 more years because he's already been there for
several
15
years.
No.
He's been there 15 years? He's been there since he was 20?
Since he was 20 years old, But,
Dude, these people
it's a tough
amazing.
one, though.
So
it's
crazy.
A tough one. Okay, let's take any questions that were called in this week.
The phone number is 540-407-8486, and you have 3 minutes to leave a message, and we'll put it on the podcast.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. This is Paul from Sarasota. I enjoy the podcast and wanted to just leave a quick message to let you know that with the beta returns program, when you withhold shipping, take a look and make sure that eBay is actually refunding the final value fee on that transaction. I've encountered 2 instances where I withheld about $3 or $4 of shipping, and eBay didn't give me the final value fee back on a item that was over $100, so the commission was about $10, without me having to call them and get them to give me the refund. I don't know if it's a consistent glitch, but it's happened to me twice. And it's really easy to check up on that. You just go to your account tab, and you should see it relatively soon after you issue the refund. You should see the final value fee. I've even waited several days in the past hoping that it would come, and it didn't without a call. So just wanted to let you know about that and to suggest that other listeners that are part of that program take a look and make sure that you're getting your final value fees refunded. I know a lot of us don't really scrutinize the individual transaction level fees, but I do, and I've noticed that. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Okay, I'm really, really, really glad you called because I've had several returns, one of which was a very, very high dollar necklace that we spoke about a couple weeks ago, and I need to go into the invoice and find where those final value fees are. They don't make it super easy to see, so I went to go look for it the other day, and then I got distracted and was doing something else, so I need to go back in there. But that is a very, very good advice. I'm very glad that you called in and reminded all of us to look for those final value fees that are supposed to be refunded when you give a refund.
So is he saying that sometimes they aren't?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, that's what he's saying.
I mean, I just assumed it was all just kind of an automatic.
It's supposed to be. Wow. That's what he's saying. Yeah, so I really like... Have
you ever seen it not been given back?
I honestly haven't looked for returns. Yep. So yeah, I really need to check on that. Everyone should go check on that. The reason that people don't want to check on it is because it's a pain. I mean, to look through your invoice.
Yeah, because I mean that's the thing. Like when you open up the invoice, it's just like it's
every single transaction.
It's like a phone bill.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like every time that you made a phone call, or or every single item ever sold, and it's not easy to find.
That's why nobody wants to do it.
So it's not on the actual page of the item that got sold. There's no point where it breaks down. Huh. Okay.
No, it's in your invoice somewhere.
I guess that's a kind of nice thing about Amazon is that they do that. They break things down per transaction, so I can click on an item I sold. You see everything,
yeah.
So I sold this item, and it shows me how much the person paid, how much I was charged,
right?
Fees.
And on eBay, it's not like that. It's just broken down. It's itemized. Yeah. Every single fee transaction is just a line item. So it's a huge pain. Although there are sections, like the thing is, you kind of have to download the whole PDF and kind of search the PDF. The issue with some of our high dollar returns is that I'm pretty sure it's on this current invoice. So I don't know if I can download that until it's like gone through. So I have to check that. But thank you for calling. That's very, very good advice.
This is Laura from South Carolina. On your last episode, you mentioned whenever you use the eBay feature Sell Similar that it copied the photos. That's actually not true. What happens is it copies the title and the item specifics. So the person's photos and descriptions are not copied over. So I just wanted to let you know that and let you know that also I enjoy your show. And one shameless plug, if anyone's interested, visit Freshly Vintage Things on Facebook. Thanks so much. Bye.
Okay, so I think when we did say that about Sell Similar, it was when I was selling video games. And I don't know if it was Sell Similar or if it was like I just put the UPC in and it was like a catalog image. That's what I must be thinking of, that because it did give me all catalog images for those video games. So obviously I'm not understanding the way eBay works with like, you know, commodity items. But yeah, that sounds correct, that when you do, you know, sell an item like this, it doesn't copy someone's complete thing, which makes sense.
But it is, I mean, I guess it's a good and a bad thing. I mean, I guess it's a bad thing if you're a seller and someone's copying all your listings. But, you know, I think a lot of us do that, where if you have an item, often you'll go to someone else's and you'll say, sell one like this, and it gives you a template
right
to then
I mean, that
your own.
They
and
have
it certainly makes it easy.
Yeah, you know? I mean, the good thing is, I mean, for us, we have like such weird, unique items that I don't think I've ever actually done that, besides those video games. But I think what I was doing was the UPCs. So, but yeah, it's a weird system where they're like, sell one exactly like this.
Although I have heard of some people that get caught by that because they just basically they use someone else's as a template and don't do a good enough job customizing it for their own thing, and then the shipping's wrong, or color's wrong, or something's wrong,
or like the wear doesn't match the wear on yours, and not fun.
Yeah.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. This is Donna from California. I just want to thank you guys for being my mentor for the last 2 years. I just wanted to tell you that I went to the eBay conference, and the anchor stores have representatives from the Utah Center, the Utah Customer Service Center, and that's why you're so pleased with the service you're getting there. They're all young kids. They're all great, and they're just really nice people, and they really are into their doing a good job. Anyway, just thought I'd tell you that.
Okay, yes. The Anchor store support is in the United States. I did know that. And I have, on occasion, got the same rep a couple times because I recognize the name. I'm sure they don't recognize me because they get calls all the time. But I love the Anchor support. They're super helpful. They've helped me almost every single time I needed help. They knew what I was talking about.
I guess our thing is, because I like kind of an even playing field, it would be nice if just that support was the norm.
That should be all the support. Yes, I agree.
They shouldn't, I don't want to say just because a foreigner is doing the support, it's not going to be as good, but it does seem to be that, when they outsource customer service to other countries, those people often are not as,
empowered,
either experienced or empowered to do something about it. They're more just reading off of a script, and they're probably told, don't give people money, or don't, the whole point is just to, calm people down or something.
I mean, I had to call the regular call center as a buyer this week because I had to get a case closed. It's very confusing. It was a return case because a seller actually sent me the wrong item. And I got her to send me the right item, but I was able to print a label through the hassle-free returns. But the problem with that is there's no way for either of us to close the case, really, because I'm like, okay, she sent me the right one. I don't need a refund. I got the right one. And there was no link to close it for either of us. So I called. I was on the phone for like a half an hour. They transferred me twice. I'm just like, and it's so crazy.
I think that we all know that, the way it works is if you don't pay people well, you're not going to get good.
Yeah,
exactly. You're not going to get good people. So if you see customer service as being kind of the bottom of the totem pole,
right,
not very important, you're going to get people that are not paid well that turn over a lot. Because if they aren't paid well, they're not going to stick around. And so you're just going to get bad service. If you see customer service as important, you're going to pay people well. People will stick around and they'll see it as a job that they could do for a long time. And the longer they stick around, the smarter they become, the more educated, the more knowledgeable, the more
helpful.
Power. Yeah. So again, companies, make a choice.
It's just like night and day. I mean, calling Anchor Store support for my store and then calling as a buyer on another account, I was just like, this is incredible how different this is. It's really like, and it was so frustrating. I didn't get a solution, and I had to tell my seller on the other account, look, I can't close this. We went around in circles. They couldn't figure it out. It'll just end in, 30 days. And
you know what it will end in? Tears.
It will end in tears. Well, she said thanks, and I said thanks, and it was worked out, but the case is still open. It's just got to close on its own.
Also, I think when you pay people poorly and things take longer to get done and there are tears, it's just tears. You're saving a little bit of money, but then you're, taking longer for something to happen and you're not getting a good outcome.
Right. The outcome's not good and people are frustrated and...
Period.
Yeah, it's just, outsourcing. Okay, that's it for the podcast this week. You can check out our blog at scavengerlife.com for the links we discuss and to join the conversation on the forum. You can call and leave a question or a comment on our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486. On Wednesdays, we post a What Sells video brought to you by Steven Schultz, where we show what sold and how much stuff sells for. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube so you always get the latest episode. You can listen to our other podcast where we speak in detail about our rental business and our current renovation. That's at shampooandbooze.com. You can rent one of our vacation rentals, which has already been renovated. And you can find that link at shampooandbooze.com. We are ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1.
Bye.